An AI-powered over-the-counter hearing aid. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and we live in an increasingly noisy world, which means that people are having hearing loss at earlier and earlier ages, which is pretty alarming. So you can end up just not noticing, which is what many people do, and you're just like, I'm sorry, excuse me, or I can't hear you, or it's really loud in here, can you speak up, please? Those are all signs that you might have some hearing loss. Now, there's a spectrum of hearing loss, but if you're in the mild to moderate category, then these devices can be game changers for you. This, let me open this up and show you. This is the ELEHEAR Beyond AI OTC hearing aid. So it is for mild to moderate hearing loss. And as you can see, it is a fairly typical looking hearing aid, but it's got a lot of smarts and it works via Bluetooth with your smart device. So you have tons of settings. You can listen to music. You can use this to make sure you can hear phone calls. You can even use it with your TV. I'll explain that in just a minute. But I'm going to start by telling you this has something called walk-thru AI noise reduction. So it gets rid of all that feedback whistle. And if you've ever tried a hearing aid, you know that sometimes for what seem to be completely random reasons, it just whistles and it's just really annoying. So they get rid of all that with their AI algorithms. It's actually a DNN hybrid algorithm that gets rid of that noise, and it does feedback cancellation. One of the other cool things they have with this is it also can do tinnitus masking. So if you hear that sort of whistle or like a sound or just a high-pitched frequency or something, this can actually help you manage that, and it uses it by giving you natural sound alternatives so your brain can rest and you can calm down a little bit. It's really an unpleasant experience. So 37 decibel gain, I will say, when you put these in, it's like all the high frequencies suddenly get much more present. So if you've been missing out on a lot of people's conversations, for example, all of a sudden that shows up, and it's really remarkable. It's a very different experience if you're having some hearing loss. It has 4 modes: restaurant, TV, outdoor, in general, Bluetooth streaming, the batteries. It's pretty remarkable. This by itself can run for 20 hours, and then you put it in the case and that gives you 4 more charges. So it is a pretty hefty case compared to like Apple AirPods or something, but that gives you 4 more charges, which gives you the ability to use these for 100 hours. So fully charge these and you can be on a cruise and you can use these for an entire week without having to charge them again. So that's pretty cool. Now, you might have caught the ELEHEAR Alpha Pro, which I've also reviewed, and one of the big differences here is that this has a smaller case. So it also has improved circuitry. They've rewritten the app and everything, IPX5 sweat resistant. So there's lots of cool stuff, but I'm going to show you the app in just a second. Let me just show you in the box. You get a USB-C to USB-A charging cable. You get various tools to maintain them and to get earwax off. It happens. And a user manual that gives you lots of details, and a quick start guide if you don't want to have all the details and you want to just jump in. And then in a little bag, in a little box, in the big box is, let me just sort of show you this. There's a whole lot of different ear tips that it's included. And this gives you the ability to really fine-tune what's going to work best for you. You can see here, there's a lot of choices from the smallest and most minimal to ones that cover most of your ear canal. And I highly recommend that you experiment with different ones to see which gives you the best result. And they also, ELEHEAR has an audiologist you can consult with through their website if you need a little bit of extra help to sort of dial in the one that's going to work best for you. But let's see, I'm going to put these on and then I'm going to show you the app. So I'm still getting the hang of how to put them on, but basically put the piece behind your ear and then loop it around and then just push it gently into your ear canal. And as you can see in this close-up, it's really hard to see that I have this on. So there's that modesty piece too, which I know is important to a lot of people. But just doing this, it's already paired with my phone and turned on. So now I'm hearing my voice in a very different way. Now, let me put the other one on. And let's see, it just goes in there and we're good. And it has voice prompt, so I get power on, connected, and now they're both working. So now I have a much, much more overt higher frequencies. But let's get to their app, because their app has a lot of cool tricks. So let's see, and here it is. Now, I haven't actually paired these with the app. All I've done is I've paired them via Bluetooth with my phone, and that was enough that I could listen to music and stuff. But now, let's see what happens. So these are the Beyond, connecting, congratulations. And we can go through the tutorial really quick. So it shows you how to put them on. It shows you how to control them directly from the unit itself, and lower the volume and pause Bluetooth streaming. And I'm going through this quickly. Obviously, you would go through this more slowly so you could understand what's going on. But here we go. So now I can adjust things like, let's see what mode we're in. And so I'm in general mode, and I can change it to a noisy environment. And so now I can hear there's a significant difference. So I'm getting a lot less brightness in my audio. And I can add additional modes if I want. This one's actually very pleasant. It's also lowered the gain on both ears. And having left and right ear options is really important because many people have better hearing in one ear than the other. So let's say my right ear is needing a little more help than my left ear. So I could do this. And now I can, now it's interesting because I actually have pretty balanced hearing. So now I get less emphasis on this side than this side, which is what you would expect. One cool thing, I can mute it. And by muting it, I can go back to a very silent world. And now it's just my regular hearing. So this is a nice way if you're reading a book or you're studying or you just need to take a break from everything going on around you. One of the most important things you can do with the app is check for a firmware update. So if you choose that 3 lines on the top left and then choose My Device, you can see it has the current firmware version. If there's a new version, it'll tell you. It takes about 5 minutes to do the update. I just did that. That's why I had to jump off camera for a second. But it also tracks how much time you've used these. And that's really important because you want to get used to them. So in the first week, you want to wear them for a couple of hours each day. And then the second week, give yourself a little more time. Don't immediately wear them for long periods because it's a lot for your brain to process. It's getting used to having the full audio spectrum again. So it's a very different experience. And it will highlight that you can adjust left and right, so you can have the hearing on each ear is different. And speech enhancement, this is absolutely a game changer. Notice I have my speech focus to the front. So if I'm in an environment with a lot of people, it's the person I'm facing that the system will actually be focusing on trying to give me the best audio from them. I can switch to 360. And now, even if someone's behind me, I'm going to hear what they're saying more clearly. I kind of like front. That's kind of how we work as human beings. And then there's some other stuff you can do with phone call boosting and such. But let's check out the tinnitus. And this is really interesting because it gives you very quietly in the background environmental noise. So if you're used to having a hum or a whistle or whine or something because you have just that sound that your brain is producing thinking it's coming from your ears, well, now I have very subtly, I have rain in the background. And where this gets really interesting is you can actually mix things up. So I can say, I would like to have rain and waterfall. And so notice near the bottom that it shows the 2, and it's showing me what I have set up. So there's a lot of different sounds. And you can use, of course, things like just white noise or pink and blue and brown noise. Did you know they had all those colors? So that's pretty fun. I'm going to turn that off by just pausing it. Then let's go to home. And the home, at this point, there's not a lot of reason to go to the home screen other than there are 2 really cool features here. One of which is translation. So you have to set this up. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can actually use these because they're AI powered. I can actually have them translate a different language that someone might be speaking to me, and it is a pretty wild effect. It's something you're going to want to practice before you're in a remote situation, and that's the only way you can communicate, but it's fascinating that they include that. The other really cool feature is remote sound capture. And the idea of this is it changes all of the setup. So now what I'm hearing is the pickup from my phone. How is that useful? Well, I can put that by the television. I can put that near the podium when someone's speaking or making a presentation. And it's a little disconcerting because then I'm not getting the benefit of the hearing aid locally, but it's like having a really long microphone on a cord plugged into your brain, and that's pretty cool. So there is a tiny lag, so I'm going to turn that off. Whew. So there is a tiny lag, and that's worth knowing about, but those are pretty much the primary controls. I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to go into General, and I can hear it's brighter, and that's okay. So all of those features, super helpful. Now, let me put these aside and let's talk about this just a little more. So I'm going to take these out of my ears because I want to give you a chance to actually see up close what they look like. And they are very subtle. But notice on the top, there are some buttons that help you control them. So if you tilt that rocker button up, it does volume up. If you tilt it down, it does volume down. And if you hold volume up for 3 seconds, it will actually turn it off. And it's pretty easy to do right behind your ear. So if you need to, you can turn them off and then turn them back on in a situation where it's actually, important that you're able to hear. On the inner curve are actually some sensors, and they are working with, let me put it on the correct side, they work with the case. So when I put it in the case, those little LEDs light up and it's charging. That's literally all I have to do. So I'm going to put this one in. And so now both of them are charging, and that's all there is to it. So that's everything that you really want to know. It's really, really an extraordinary experience. If you're having your hearing just losing a little bit each year, you probably don't even notice. I'm pretty sure I have good hearing, but obviously I put these in and it's like, oh, I can hear more, which suggests to me maybe I don't have perfect hearing in both ears. And that's a function of age. It's not something that's a huge issue yet. But I certainly notice it when I'm in a crowded environment and people are talking to me and I can't hear them over all the background noise. So these change that experience, and they change it in a way that no one really can see it. And if someone's like inspecting my ear, they might notice it, but who the heck's gonna do that? That'd be really peculiar, right? So they are eligible for HSA or FSA payments. They are FDA certified. They have a 45-day risk-free trial. So really, there's so much to like here. There's so much worth checking out. Now, we do need to talk price. Before we get there, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just click on that subscribe button, hit the bell icon for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you found this of value. Excellent. Thank you. Now, these are the ELEHEAR Beyond AI OTC hearing aid. And by the way, OTC is over the counter, in case you were wondering. So ELEHEAR Beyond, they are $399 at elehear.com. They are definitely worth checking out. If you're having some issues with your hearing, These are really good options, and they are dramatically less expensive than old school, formal, fancy hearing aids that you get from an audiologist. So again, mild to moderate hearing loss only. If you have serious issues, you need an audiologist. You need to work with your doctor. That's what they're there for. But if you're just thinking, my left ear is having a little bit of problem, something like this can change that experience for you entirely. Hope that was really helpful, and I'll hope to catch you in my next video.